All right, class, welcome to section 2-4. This is multiplying integers. All right, so we're going to learn something, we went over it in class, but this is 5 times -6. And so when we're multiplying or dividing, we're not lefting and righting like we did on adding and subtracting. All right, this is a little bit different. We've wrote it down before, but we want to write down that every two negatives cancel in multiplying and dividing. So this is multiplication, right? This does not say 5 minus 6. It says 5 times -6. All right, how many negative signs are there? There are 1. All right, if there's 2 or 4 or 6 or 8, any even amount, and they're all multiplying or dividing, then they would all cancel out. But anytime there's an odd amount, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, then you're always going to have a negative left over because all the evens will cancel out. And then all you've got is 5 times 6, which is 30. I mean, guys, this is so simple. All right, and then over here we've got -4, and this is times 16. All right, anytime a number or a letter is written beside parentheses without anything in between, then they're multiplying. All right, so again we have -4 times 16. That's 1 negative. Therefore, our answer will have a negative because every two cancel out, and there's only 1. And then we've got 16 times 4. If you write that out, you will get 64. So the answer ends up being -64 because of that. So the negative is what you write down first. If you know the answer will be negative or positive just based on how many negatives cancel out, then you write that, and then you just write down what 5 times 6 is or 4 times 16 is, and you get your answer. All right, now we got example 2 on page 101. Again, we're multiplying. You notice that numbers are written beside parentheses. So -6 times -12. There's 2 negatives, which means every 2 negatives cancel out. So our answer will be positive. Sometimes I go ahead and just write a plus sign just to know I've already done that part. As you guys know, you don't usually write a plus sign when you write positive numbers, but in this case it's okay just because it's the topic we're learning. And then 6 times 12, if you don't know what that is, write it out and figure it out. All right, you should get positive 72, or you could just write 72. All right, that's the answer there. Now over here you've got -4 times -5 times -8. Now we've already learned associative property here, right? We can flip these around in any order. We can do commutative property and change them. Any way you can get an answer quickly, that's why those properties are useful. So I could do -4 times -5 first, which I know is positive 20, and then take positive 20 times -8 and get -160. Now that's my answer no matter what I do. That's a 0 there. All right, that's my answer. Now, I could have also did this in a backwards order. I could have did -8 times -5. 2 negatives cancel out. 8 times 5 is 40. Now take 40 times -4. Again, it's -160. So no matter which way you do this, that's the answer. But what I would like you to notice also is there's 3 numbers being multiplied here. There's 3 negatives. So 2 of them will cancel out, which means your answer will be negative. The other thing is just doing this step by step. -4 times -5. I want you to go ahead and write down -20 and then parentheses -8, just like you would do in PEMDAS. You should be showing those steps out. All right, and then we've got 20 times -8, which I know is -160. All right. All right, in example 3, it says a glacier receded at a rate of 300 feet per day. What was the glacier's movement in 5 days? All right, so the word receded, that's not a math term, but it just means that the glacier is decreasing in its size, or its, basically it's losing 300 feet of itself per day. And then what was the glacier's movement in 5 days? So we've got -300 since it's receding, it's going backwards. And then we're going to times that by 5 days. So again, we've got a negative times a positive. That's a negative answer. And then we've got 300 times 5, which I know is 1,500. So negative 1,500 feet is the amount of movement in 5 days. And now we've got 4a. This is on page 102. It wants us to simplify negative 2x parentheses 3y. All right, so one thing we want to notice here is this is multiplication. All right, it's just negative 2x times 3y. Now, long story short, this is the answer. You just multiply negative 2 and 3, that's negative 6, and then you're still multiplying by xy. So remember, if you just write them beside, that means multiplication. So that's the answer. But what they're wanting you to remember here is you can flip things around. If you look in the book, it shows you commutative property, associative property. You can move these around, and you end up with these beside each other. Right? And then you just write the letters off because they're multiplying 2. And you just multiply to get negative 6. So, I mean, you can kind of do it all in one step. Or they show it in the book. Just doing that so you remember your commutative property to switch the x and the 3. But that's all you got on 4a. And 4b is it wants you to evaluate. So this one's a little bit different. You're finding the value. All right, evaluate 4ab if a is 3 and b is negative 5. So first thing we do is write 4ab, and then we start plugging things in. So a is 3, so it's 4 times 3, and then we're timesing by b, so we're timesing by negative 5. It's just 4 times 3 times negative 5. All right, so we can multiply those numbers in any order, but there is only one negative sign, so none of the negatives will cancel out. 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 times 5 is 60. Or you can do it backwards. 5 times 3 is 15, and then 15 times 4 is also 60, but the answer ends up being negative 60. All right, guys, good luck.